What up, homies? Welcome back, Conspiracy University. All right, so as y'all can see here on my screen, right, I got this article pulled up. NBCnews.com, one of the many ops. I repeat, NBCnews.com ops. So it reads here. Or look, before I start, reading it, and because it's just this is a simple article that you can pull up, right, and anybody can read it. But I'm gonna take it a step further, and knowing that some people just ain't got the time to sit there and read certain things, and people living life, right? And sometimes life can be rough. It can be busy, it can be hectic, and it's not always at the front of somebody's list to sit there and just read random news articles, right? Or just to look into certain things, or like I understand, I try to understand, I get it, but no worries. That's why you got your boy here who gonna read it. I'm gonna read the article for you. So if you want to just pop your headphones in and just listen, that way you can still retain the information. And then after that, some people are gonna want to go and look into it some more, and then in turn they'll start speaking about it more, and then boom, what do you know? We caught fire, right? Start getting it out there little by little. So everyone has heard about already the whole mind control and the MK Ultra, and you hear about that a lot, right? I've seen this in like Netflix TV shows and stuff, like they talk about it a lot now. But you don't really hear about this one right here, the Havana syndrome. And there are people who speak about it, or who still speak about it today. I mean, I learned about this from from one of those people, right? I mean, and I couldn't even give you credit properly, bro, because I really don't even remember the name or where it came from, but it was a former military, but they spoke about this, right? Havana syndrome. And it's still foreign to a lot of people. So, I think it's time, I'll go ahead and start making a couple videos about this and getting into this a little bit more, because it really does, it really will raise some eyebrows, all right? So it reads here, Havana syndrome, symptoms in small group most likely caused by directed energy, says U.S. Intel panel of experts. Injuries suffered by several dozen diplomats and spies were consistent with directed energy, the panel said. About 1,000 people have reported symptoms. The mysterious and sudden brain injuries suffered by a small group of American diplomats and spies overseas were most likely caused by pulsed electromagnetic energy delivered by an external device, a panel of scientific experts working for U.S. intelligence agencies has concluded. The panel's findings, while full of caveats, are consistent with what has been a long-standing hypothesis by intelligence officials, that a foreign adversary, most likely Russia, is responsible for at least some of the symptoms suffered by those who have fallen victim to what is commonly known as Havana syndrome. So, side note here, y'all, I think they might have forgot, it could just be an error or something like that, I think they forgot to add, where they put here that the panel's findings, with long-standing hypothesis by intelligence officials that a foreign adversary, most likely Russia, they should have put like maybe some parentheses and then added the U.S., USA, U.S. LLC. I'm pretty sure they just forgot. But hey, so people make mistakes. The panel's conclusions also are consistent with a recent CIA interim assessment, which found that most of the 1,000 people who have come forward with possible injuries have symptoms that can be explained by other factors. The CIA assessment issued last month also ruled out what is called a sustained global campaign by a hostile foreign power to injure Americans. But it found 24 cases in which it could not rule out a hostile case, and those appear to be the cases the expert panel focused on. Many of those people are part of the original group of diplomats and spies who first exhibited symptoms in 2016 at the U.S. Embassy in Havana. Intelligence officials declined to say whether any recent cases are part of the cohort of unexplained symptoms or whether they believe Americans abroad continue to be at risk. Intelligence officials familiar with the panel's work told NBC News that it did not consider the question of who might be to blame for the injuries, only what the medical and technical evidence said about possible causes. Russia has denied any link to Havana syndrome symptoms. The panel's scientific conclusions are likely to put a new spotlight on the theory that at least some Americans serving overseas were injured by an external force, a notion that many perceived the CIA assessment as having dispelled. A number of U.S. diplomats and spies who had reported suspected incidents had expressed dismay over the CIA's report, which was widely perceived publicly as throwing cold water on the belief of Americans had been attacked. The panel's findings expanded on a 2020 report by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, which also found that pulsed electromagnetic energy, also referred to as microwave energy, was the most plausible culprit. The report noted that Russia has a long history of studying and developing the technology. Intelligence officials told NBC News that the panel included a group of scientists and technical experts from both inside and outside the government who reviewed more than 1,000 classified documents and conducted the most exhaustive study to date on the possible causes of Havana syndrome. The panel focused on cases in which victims reported hearing a sound from a particular direction or feeling pressure in one ear, and who then suffered vertigo. They also sought to exclude any possible medical or environmental factors. The panel found that pulsed electromagnetic energy plausibly explains the core cases, although information gaps exist. The panel did not identify any device capable of inflicting the injuries. It's more than theory. We were able to obtain some level of evidence, one official said, but there are some significant information gaps. Officials said the experts also could not rule out high-powered ultrasound beams as a possible cause, but concluded that microwave energy was more likely to have been easily concealed, low-powered and able to penetrate walls. Low-powered and able to penetrate walls. That conclusion was notable because some Havana syndrome victims reported feeling the sensation of being hit by an invisible blast or pressure wave while inside their apartments or homes. Some experts have questioned whether any microwave device that could cause such symptoms from a distance could have a portable power source. One suggested the power source would have to be the size of a small car, but the panel of experts concluded the power requirements would not be high. Also notable was the panel's conclusion that they could not attribute the core symptoms of what they call anomalous health incidents, or AHIS, to any medical known condition, or to some sort of psychological syndrome. Although some signs and symptoms of AHIs are common in known medical conditions, the combination of the four core characteristics is distinctly unusual and reported elsewhere in the medical literature, and so far have not been associated with a specific neurological abnormality. The panel concluded in an executive summary. It added, no known psychosocial factors explain the core characteristics, and the incidences exhibiting these characteristics do not fit the majority of criteria used to discern mass sociogenic illness. The panel did find that some of the symptoms experienced by intelligence operatives and diplomats could be due to hypervigilance and normal human reactions to stress and ambiguity, particularly among a workforce attuned to its surroundings and trained to think about security. However, it added, the signs and symptoms of AHIs are genuine and compelling. Some incidences affected a number of people in the same space, and some victims were found to have suffered cellular injury to the nervous system. Officials said the panel interviewed researchers who worked around commercial microwave devices and ultrasound devices, who described suffering similar symptoms in accidental exposures. Havana syndrome is believed to have emerged in late 2016 when U.S. diplomats and spies serving in Cuba began reporting bizarre sounds and sensations followed by unexplained illnesses and symptoms, including hearing and vision loss, memory and balance problems, headaches, and nausea. Over the years, many hundreds of U.S. officials have come forward reporting suspected incidents in more than a dozen countries, NBC News has reported. NBC News reported in 2018 that U.S. intelligence officials considered Russia a leading suspect in what some of them assessed to have been deliberate attacks on diplomats and CIA officers overseas. But in the 3 years since then, the spy agencies have not uncovered enough evidence to pinpoint the cause or the culprit of the health incidences. Going forward, the panel recommends that intelligence agencies try to identify biomarkers, changes in blood or tissue or brain function that are associated with the health incidents, to better identify them if they happen again. The panel also recommended that agencies collect more data on the possible incidents and develop a coordinated communication strategy to inform and educate the U.S. government workforce about the phenomenon. In a statement, a group of people who believe they are victims of Havana syndrome said the panel's findings reinforce the need for intelligence community and the broader U.S. government to redouble their efforts to fully understand the causes. They also welcomed the Biden administration's recent announcement of a top White House official to serve as AHI interagency coordinator. This appointment is a welcome expression of concern and support by the president and his team, the statement said. In a statement accompanying a public summary of the panel's work, Avril Haines, the director of the National Intelligence, and William Burns, the CIA director, said it will help sharpen the work of the IC and broader U.S. government as we focus on possible causes. We will stay with it, continued rigor for however long it takes. That's cap. They capping. Dr. Eric Lander, the Biden administration's director of the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, said in a statement that the government had convened panels in the past to examine the potential causes of the syndrome. But this is the first time a panel has had such wide-ranging access to intelligence reporting and patient data and has engaged directly with affected individuals. The panelists spent almost 9 months undertaking this study. Their meticulous approach provides a roadmap for important work we still need to undertake. Also Wednesday, a separate... Oh, you know what? It ain't even worth me going ahead and reading this anymore, right? Because I just get a little agitated and stuff whenever they start putting all this extra stuff in there to where they basically just like letting us know that they bullshitting and they're not going to continue looking at it, because they don't need to continue looking into it because they know exactly what it is. They know what it does. They know how it works. And, you know, in my opinion, they're the ones who created it. But, you know, they're always going to try to point the finger somewhere else. And it's just a big old shit show, right? They blame it on these people or blame it on this people. It came from over here. And they'll have us over here, you know, trying to go to war with the whole other country, thinking that they the ones who invented this and did this and doing it to people and hurting the people. And we'll go to war over there with them. And all along, it's our own people right here doing it to us. But, you know, I could be wrong. But, you know, I just wanted to make sure that I did go over some of this with y'all, right? I pretty much read most of it, most of the important parts. And, you know, I think that's enough that some of y'all's interest will be piqued. And y'all going to go look into this a little bit more. And, you know, that's how we start to uncover some of this information, y'all. And get into some of the good stuff, right? But definitely, y'all, if y'all ever got a chance and you got some time, just go look into the Havana syndrome, and there's a couple books out there on it, really good books, and y'all would definitely have at least I would say interesting time reading all of it and checking out some of the stuff that it gets into. But once again, y'all, as always, I appreciate every single one of y'all who come over here and rock with me. Y'all keep your eyes open out there, homies. Stay safe.